It's time for the main event. Here comes the breakdown. Act 1, the setup.
Our film begins with an Elysium-style floating island in the sky and a voiceover inexplicably performed by Charlize Theron, who doesn't appear at any other point in this film. Again, it's like, how much money did you spend on Sam Jackson, Nick Cage, Charlize Theron, all of these people to basically give them like 4 lines to say?
It's like when they gave Meryl Streep a role in Ant Bully just to play the queen.
Why? I don't get it. I mean, like, I guess she provided the gravitas necessary for that role, but like
kids don't
did
care.
You need Meryl Streep?
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's just they know somebody who knows somebody who owes a favor and could just write him a quick couple million check for a couple $1 million.
I mean, I would never turn that down in a million years. I would, if I was lucky enough to work in Hollywood and I was doing any kind of acting, voice acting would be the thing I would gravitate towards immediately, because it's like you don't have to leave Los Angeles. You can basically show up without having to like travel at all. You don't have to even really worry about your look.
Nope.
You could just kind of show up and do your lines, and they cut you a big fat paycheck, and then you go home at the end of the night every night. It would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Really got off first sentence. We got off track there. Anyway, Charlize Theron explains that the utopia they all live in, Metro City, was once a mountain that they lifted into the sky to escape a polluted, dying planet Earth down below. She says they don't know what happens on the Earth anymore as we pan over a wasteland filled with garbage, but life in Metro City is incredible. God, I hate rich people so much. This is what's going to happen to all of us, man. They're just going to leave us all behind and Wall-E the fucking planet. She goes on to say the reason everything is so great is because of robots who literally do everything for these pampered assholes. The robots cook, clean, build their buildings, raise their children, wipe their asses, and everything in between. And to repay them, the humans of Metro City throw them away like trash when they become even ever so slightly obsolete. I mean, they just like built a robot, put it in a car, and drove it into a fucking wall. Like, I feel like because of how nice Charlize Theron sounds, it's like it almost paints a message of like, oh, they love it here. The robots are doing great. Anyways, they dump all of the robots as soon as they're destroyed or obsolete to the hell planet that they left behind down below, which reminded me of Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok, when they're like dumping shit out of those portals and stuff. Kind of the same thing. She goes on to say they all have Dr. Tenma, a genius robot engineer and scientist played by the one true God himself, for creating the robots which they throw away by the thousands on a daily basis like straws into the great Pacific garbage patch. We cut to a classroom where we see Dr. Tenma's son, Toby, and his classmates taking a pop quiz, which Toby finishes in seconds since he's also a genius. If movies have taught us anything, it's that as much as you try not to, you will end up being exactly like your parents in every single foreseeable way. Including in most movies, literally just looking exactly the same. Dr. Tenma says he can't take Toby to a symposium on quantum mechanics because President Stone wants to unveil a new robot called the Peacemaker. Toby says, "The Peacemaker? You've got to be kidding me." And Tenma says, "I never wanted a kid." I mean, I never kid. Toby wants to see the unveiling for himself since his dad always talks about the Peacekeeper, so he reprograms his robot butler, forcing him to drive to the Ministry of Science. At the Ministry of Science, the president, played by Donald Sutherland, finally getting a Donald Sutherland appearance in a actual role where he's actually in the film. Well, I guess not, because he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was just a voice in Lord of War as well. So I guess, I don't know. I wonder if Nick Cage and Donald Sutherland ever actually worked together. He asks if the robot is ready, and Tenma warns that his colleague, Dr. Elephant, won't be happy that the president has decided to use his discovery, discovery for military purposes. Toby shows up and gets his dad's attention, causing a huge detail of guard robots or dark troopers or whatever to stop him. And Tenma is upset that he turned their helper robot's brain into mashed potatoes. Probably not the first time that Toby has reprogrammed or killed one of the robots that they have around the house. Toby and the president chat since Stone is excited to meet the next genius who will continue the robot holocaust after Tenma retires or whatever. But Toby makes fun of a robot the president is using to murder civilians on the planet below or something. So the president tells the kid he can wait in a broom closet somewhere while the experiment happens. Put this fucker somewhere else. Seems rude to do to somebody else's kid, but whatever. In front of their dad. President Stone is a real piece of shit from the jump. In an auditorium, Dr. Elephant is giving a presentation on a new kind of sustainable energy they made from a fragment of a star called blue core energy. He says the small sphere of energy could transform the surface world, making it habitable for all living creatures and bring water back and make the mountains have snow on them and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy. I don't understand. I mean, I guess energy, like it could be used in a power plant of some sort.
Yeah,
which I love that they just abandon completely and don't use.
Yeah, like if I guess it's unlimited energy, so you can use it for whatever and without polluting everything.
Yeah. Seems like it would be good for the planet, but no, let's put it into a little robot boy. Never use it for good. Tenma and the president interrupt the presentation, and when the president hears Elephant talking about using the energy to clean Earth's water, reverse the effects of pollution, and restore life to the planet, Stone calls him a dangerous idiot. Dr. Elephant says, unfortunately, when refining the blue core, they also created a byproduct called negative red energy, which immediately gives the president a big, shiny murder boner. And he says that women voters are really partial to the color red. So, you know, that'll be good for his campaign. Suddenly, the dark troopers walk on stage and confiscate both the blue and red energy, much to Dr. Elephant's horror. And President Stone says he's going to use the cores to give the people of Metro City a reason to re-elect him. Cleaning the earth for billions of people, presumably still on the surface, or use it for an uncontrollable murder robot to help you get re-elected. It all just felt like science fiction at one point, didn't it? That's our daily reality. I'm glad this will be coming out after the election so we can see how this all shakes out. But right now we're all fucking terrified, and this is just too real. In a giant lab room, Elephant begs Tenma not to let the president do this, but Dr. Tenma argues that they have to, since without military funding, they'll be shut down. Would seem to me that the people's absolute reliance on robots to do literally everything for them would be good enough, but, you know, what do I know? They need it to blast people on the surface, I guess. One of my biggest Coppola questions of this whole thing is like, really? The military needs, like, that's where you need your funding is from the military for this utopia world? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess it's for, like, down below. We see that, like, basically the planet isn't any different. It's just polluted. That's it.
Yeah.
And, like, lush and green in some spots, which I feel like they shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just trying to show that, like, life isn't as bad as they thought it was on the Earth. I don't know. We'll get to it. We see a giant evil-looking robot lowered to a platform between the two cores before cutting to Toby escaping the broom closet and making his way to the unveiling. Stone stops the scientists from loading the blue core into the murder robot since pure positive energy doesn't make for a terrifying monster capable of killing everyone. So he tries to force the scientists to load the red core, but they all refuse. So he just takes the controls while his guards hold the scientists back, and he loads the red core into the robot like it's a video game. Oh, it's like a video game. To test it, they send a bunch of drones to shoot at the robot, and it destroys them all, no sweat, before absorbing them into its body to grow more powerful, which is, I guess that's supposed to be like a new technology that they came up with, being able to absorb other things. So, like, can Toby do that when he becomes Astro Boy?
He's not using the red energy, so maybe not.
Well, I thought that was like part of the Peacekeeper's thing was like that it could absorb shit into it. And it didn't matter if it was the blue core or the red core, but Toby sneaks in to get a better look, and when the robot turns on the humans, they lower a blast door, trapping the Peacekeeper and Toby behind it. Dr. Tenma is horrified to see his son in harm's way, but when he goes to open the door, it malfunctions for some reason. Like, it's the only time anything malfunctions.
Yeah.
The red robot powers up. I just, for some reason, Red Rocket popped into my head there. I don't know. Powers up some sort of Mega Man blaster to destroy the door, which causes Dr. Tenma's only child to be turned into vapor while his dad is reassuring him that everything will be okay. It's going to be fine, Toby. Psh. Gone.
Except the hat, Toby, for some reason.
Toby is completely disintegrated, except for his hat for some reason. Which makes no sense at all. All organic material gone, except for the hat. The robot uses another weapon to get through the door, and the president's robot guards are helpless against it. The only thing that stops the rampage is Dr. Elephant using some sort of power plug that I guess is tapped into the blue energy core thing, which he stabs into the robot's chest. I was very confused about that because it's like power plugs on the ground that I guess are connected to the energy core. I guess, that's why they made it something vague like the heart of a star or something, is so that they could just explain away any kind of technology as it's just blue energy. That's how it works. The Peacekeeper is neutralized and Dr. Tenma searches for his dead son, finding only his hat. The doctor holds his son's hat riddled with guilt and says, "It's all my fault." And next we see him busily trying to resurrect his dead son in robot form. It's kind of a really fucking dark way to start this movie, which I guess is, true to the manga or whatever.
Yeah, there are many moments, dark moments like that.
Very dark throughout. I mean, almost like a Mad Max world down on the surface, but it's all kids and happiness. But at the same time, if you think about it for even a second, you're like, wow, this is fucked up. Tenma rolls out a blueprint of a robot schematic version of Toby, and Tenma takes some of the hair from his son's hat to upload Toby's DNA to the computer. We then see a robot on a table being infused with Toby's memories, which isn't how DNA works at all.
That's how Assassin's Creed does it.
It like would create a version of Toby, but it wouldn't give him his memories and stuff. We see like all of his memories up on the screens or whatever over the top of his body. Quick fact, as Astro Boy is under construction, the blueprint plan briefly seen has a drawing that is exactly how the character appeared in Astro Boy in the 60s, the 60s cartoon. Just for a second there, you see it. I don't know why exactly they went away from the original Astro Boy look. Maybe it was too goofy.
Yeah, it didn't work in 3D.
I feel like it really looks like a Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah.
And they had to make it look not like that.
Yeah.
Dr. Elephant pulls up outside and is well aware of what Tenma is up to in his lab. And inside, when a scientist in a red beret and glasses says Tenma has gone crazy, Elephant says, "If you lose your son like that, and you don't go crazy, you're not a human being." I do feel like Bill Nighy brings a lot of weight to this character, which is kind of necessary. It sort of balances out Tenma. And also Cage's kind of flat delivery on most of his lines throughout. Bill Nighy is always great in everything except for G-Force. Quick fact, a man in a red cap and glasses with a big nose appears in almost subliminal cameos throughout the film. This is a frequent self-caricature of Osamu Tezuka, the guy who wrote the manga back in the day. A Holocaust... A hologram scans over the robot skeleton, giving it red boots, hair, skin, and a pair of black booty shorts for some reason.
But no nipples.
No nipples. Still very sexy. But Tenma says the new Toby has the most advanced defense features systems ever created, meaning he won't lose his son again. And he throws him away 5 minutes from now. Dr. Tenma asks if Elephant brought what he asked, and his colleague says, I couldn't refuse a grieving father. Elephant produces a case with the blue energy core full of nothing but pure positive energy that we saw earlier. Again, save the entire Earth, reversing centuries of pollution, or resurrect a dead child into a robot abomination that's capable of killing us all. I guess we have to get our priorities straight, Fuck that kid. What was he doing for the world? Yeah, sure he was smart, but we have the chance to resurrect the Earth or bring back this dead kid.
Yeah.
Fuck Toby. When Tenma takes the core, Elephant warns him that it's unpredictable, to which Tenma says it's going to make it perfect. Perfect! Just like Toby was. One of the few cagey moments throughout the film. He puts the core in new Toby's chest and the robot powers up, which destroys all of the equipment in the lab for some reason, like how when Captain America comes to life or gets formed into not skinny little guy, Captain America. Astro Boy comes to life and recognizes his dad immediately, much to his father's excitement. Tenma says, thank you, Elephant. I swear to God, he says elephant instead of elephant in that. Just that one scene. I swear that fucking Cage just threw in one elephant.
Thank you, Elephant.
Then he says, I'm going to take him home for some quality time, bonding, all the good things. Not even going to make a joke about him taking a little boy in his underpants home for quality time. But
yeah.
Whatever.
Why does the boy got to be half naked?
Well, I guess the better question is, why does he have built-in boots and underwear?
Shorts. Yeah. Yeah. And no nipples. That's one of my Coppola questions. Does nobody in this world have nipples? He's supposed to be indistinguishable from a human, but he doesn't have nipples.
Toby says goodbye to Dr. Elephant, and the doctor is blown away by how well the experiment worked. We cut to Toby waking up at home with his dad asleep at the foot of his bed. Why does a robot need to sleep? I don't know. Tenma asks him how he feels, and Toby says he feels kind of weird and wonders if he's been sick or something. Tenma assures his robot son that he's fine, perfect, and wonderful before giving him a big heartfelt hug. We cut to Orin, I think is how you say his name? O-R-R-I-N.
Yeah.
Orin. They said it weird every time. We cut to Orin, the Tenma's household robot butler, screaming in terror to see the dead kid alive again. He scans Toby and sees through his skin to the robot skeleton underneath, and Doctor tells Orin not to say anything.
Should have cleared that with the robot first, because they almost blew it.
Yeah, and I feel like every robot that Toby encounters is going to see him as what he actually is, so the jig is going to be up really fast. But I think his plan was to just keep him inside.
Yeah, because he said he was going to homeschool him. Yeah, keep him protected. No cages, no cages.
Oh, no. Dr. Tenma tells Toby he wants to start homeschooling him, and Toby says, sounds good to me. Like it's nothing. I mean, if it was really he had the same memories as Toby, I'm sure he would be a little confused as to why he wanted to do that. But I guess he's a kid, so he'd be like, fuck it, I don't want to go to school anyway.
Yeah, and also you saw he get through his classes in 5 seconds, so he doesn't really seem to like school that much anyway.
He's not really being challenged at school.
I mean, I'm guessing if your dad is a robotics genius, then he might give you more of a challenge.
Yeah, true. Going to do some 4D calculus.
Yeah.
Toby tells Orin they're going to be hanging out together all day, every day, which causes Orin to drop his breakfast all over the place. Which is also does Toby eat now? Does Astro Boy eat? Because I never see him eat in any scene, and every time there's food around him, he either ignores it or he gives it to somebody else. So
he was really excited to eat the garbage pizza later on, but then doesn't actually
eat it.
So I would assume he could. I mean, I'm guessing it's Data is fully functional in all aspects. All
could
aspects.
Data eat? That's true.
Walking. Just know that joke where he like
pleasure.
has sex with somebody in
Tasha Yar.
Yeah, he talks about he's fully functional in every aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we all want in our house. Corpse robot walking around, creepy yellow eyes, cadaver skin. Dr. Tenma tells his son not to torture the robots anymore and that he's quitting his job to take care of Toby full time, that's a big step. We cut from Oren saying, "I am so freaked," to Tenma teaching his son some 4D calculus. Is that a thing? Is that really a thing? I don't know.
I'm sure. I recognized some of the words he was using.
Which Toby does so well. He creates a cowboy robot hologram that dances around, which annoys his dad since a child isn't allowed to have fun.
Nope.
Which is like, this is a whole thing of like, is this version of Toby actually weird, or did he just not know his son at all? That was my speculation that I peppered in throughout. It's like, I never spent any time with my son, so he's weird to me because I didn't know him at all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it. Like his robot butler picks him up from school every day and drives him wherever his dad tells him to go. So it's like he's not even involved, and he shows up trying to like actually, be involved in what his dad's doing at work, and his dad like locks him in a broom closet. So, or lets the president lock him in a broom closet.
Dr. Tenma gives Toby a load of philosophy and scientific books to read before saying, "Just give these a read to get the old brain humming again." Word.
I can't remember. Did you write down the joke that was on one of the cover of the books? I can't remember what it was. It was like
a joke on a cover of the book.
Yeah, one of the book. God damn it! It was like Kant something. No, that one it was Descartes before the horse was the name of the book that he shows him.
Little details, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was because he had the book on Da Vinci and stuff. But yeah, it was like Emile Kant, and then it was like Descartes, but he doesn't mention it. But it says Descartes before the horse is the name of the book.
So I guess it's like Descartes for dummies, Mm-hmm. Tenma leaves his robot son alone with the books, and Toby uses the books to recreate a bunch of Leonardo da Vinci's inventions with the pages, which also gets kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah. He and Oren have fun playing with the inventions, but when Tenma comes in and sees his son and what he's done, he's disappointed and angry that Oren encouraged Toby and is wearing his son's hat. He's really pissed. There's some real robot racism going on throughout this. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of some of the things that I've heard about apartheid, South Africa, and like when people got too familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just move on from that. Oren slinks away, and Toby tries to reassure his father, while Tenma tears up thinking about his son truly being dead. Tenma sends Astro Boy to his room, and the doctor calls Elephant to say he thinks he made a terrible mistake creating a robot version of his son. You think? Tenma explains that he finds new Toby to be very strange. Like I said, most likely because he's been an absent dad his entire life and had no idea what his son's personality actually was. He yells at Elephant after he tells Tenma to give the robot a chance that every time I look at him, he reminds me that Toby is gone and he's never coming back. Toby looks at a photo of he and his dad and asks, "What's different? I've never seen Dad angry before." This is so dark, dude. Mm-hmm. And suddenly some window washer robots start making fun of Toby's haircut. He can understand everything they're saying since he's also a robot, and both Toby and the robots are shocked they can understand each other. I had a lot of questions about this too, because it's like everybody can understand everything every robot says aside from this scene.
So maybe there's certain robots that aren't, that are like, they're like R2. They just speak robot. They don't.
Yeah.
So other humans don't need to understand them.
I think they should have set that up of like them making noises and then suddenly it like switches to speech or something.
Yeah.
Something to make it more clear to us because it just felt like they were just talking.
Yeah. We've only seen them talking to other robots just fine. So
yeah,
maybe it's supposed to be an allegory to like, I don't know, Hispanic speaking like housekeepers or whatever, you know. Oh, you can understand us? Hey, I'm not making the connection. The movie did.
Just because they're spray bottles and
yeah, they speak a different language.
Window wipes. Toby tries to grab one of the robots to find out what's happening, but he's drug out the window where he falls several stories before Toby activates some rockets on his feet. Toby is shocked at his new ability, but once he gets the hang of it, he just flies around the city, setting off speed cameras, cooking food and people. I don't know if you saw that one, where like his rockets go over some lady and she's tan all of a sudden. And then racing with a train. He flies above the clouds and then punches his way through a mountain, which seems like a real dick move. And then decides he has to show his dad his newfound powers.
Act 2. Let's get some motivation up in this thing.
We see the president's ship slamming into a billboard while he laments about his approval rating going down. The ship tracks Astro Boy on their scopes, and the president is excited that the surface people are attacking them, since that will surely get him reelected. When Stone's men say it wasn't the surface, he assumes it was his opponent, which is all too goddamn painfully real right now. By the time this episode comes out, the election will be over, but as we said before, we're all just terrified right now. President and his robot army decide to track and capture whatever's flying around with the blue core energy. Again, that's all real if you guys remember how there were fucking UFOs everywhere last year that everybody just forgot about and no one talks about anymore.
They were weather balloons, man.
They were Chinese balloons. Stop asking. We shot one down in Alaska. Stop. No, we couldn't recover it. Stop asking about it.
Didn't happen.
When Toby arrives home, he hears his dad telling Elephant to deactivate Toby since he can't bear to see his face again. Dr. Elephant tells Tenma that he can't just throw Toby away like a piece of junk, and Toby walks in to confront them. What a great dad. Dr. Elephant explains to Toby that he's not an ordinary boy, and Tenma says, "How did I think this could work?" Toby finds out he's not Toby anymore, but rather a robot programmed with Toby's memories, and he's crushed when his dad says, "You're a robot, and I don't want you anymore." It would have been worse, I think, if Cage had given like any type of emotional performance at all at any point in the movie.
True. True.
But he didn't, so it's fine. It's happier, I guess, that way. It's for the kids.
Yeah. Like I said on, I think it was not G-Force, but Ant Bully, it's just like having people not in the same room together recording their lines, I feel like is a detriment to the production a lot of times. A lot easier for scheduling and stuff, but still. Yeah.
Unless you're, a skilled voice actor who can just imagine all this shit in their head and do a really good job at it. But most actors aren't like that because they're used to acting with other people. Elephant implores Toby not to run away, saying everyone has their destiny. No, your dad just said, "Get the hell out of my sight. I don't want you anymore." But Toby has a hard time with the whole being thrown away by his dad and kicked out of the only home he's ever known thing, so he flies off like a bitch to pout somewhere. "Oh, boo-hoo, you're dead. Your dad resurrected you into a terrifying abomination nobody wants. We all have problems, kid. Deal with it." Toby hangs out on a building like Batman where he sees inside himself to his gooey nugget robot center, but he's interrupted by President Stone's ship. The president realizes what Tenma did and decides to capture the Robo-Boy. Astro Boy flies off and nearly gets captured by what I think are those green sticky hands you used to get out of vending machines,
Those things.
Yeah, I don't know why
those are called.
Well, he breaks free of those because he can fly through a mountain. But anyway, he breaks free of those by flying through a narrow passage of a skyscraper. But in the process, he saves the robot from falling to its death, and the robot tells him he loves him.
I thought this was going to come back of like all the robots suddenly love Toby.
Yeah, I thought a lot of stuff was going to come back around, but it either didn't or just sort of did and then moved on.
Yeah.
The president,
you would think that like President Stone's guard, like his dark troopers, would the word would get around that like Toby's not a bad.
I think they're humans though.
Are they?
Because there's one part, the one he saves. Yeah, the one you're talking about that he saves actually, because he talks about he pisses himself, like his little things that he's like, his little readout at one point.
It just says like fluid release or something like that.
Yeah, which I took to mean that they're humans. And because they're flirting with people, like one of them's flirting with a woman. The president calls for the Spirit of Freedom, which turns out to be a gigantic superpowered flying battleship with mission accomplished across the top of it. Doesn't have that. Toby's struck by several rockets, which eventually knock him off the floating Metro City Island onto the surface below, and President Stone calls for a state of emergency until Tenma's boy is found after they watch him fall to the surface. Cancel all leave for all the soldiers. See, so they have soldiers, which I think are those guys, they're stormtrooper helmet sort of guys. I think they're actual humans.
I guess. I mean, if they are like some sort of meld between robots and people, that's even more horrifying. Like this movie's already horrifying if you think about it too deeply, but that's even worse.
It's a prelude to the Warhammer 40K universe. Toby wakes up in a pile of destroyed robot bodies, and like zombies, the robots all start crawling for him to harvest his parts. He's eventually knocked off the hill of bodies by more body parts falling from the sky, and he wanders the wasteland for a sec before being spotted by a robot dog / trash can. The dog leads him directly to a trap set up by some human kids who mistake Toby for being human himself. Toby plays along and says he's a kid from Metro City, and Cora, Kristen Bell's character, sarcastically makes fun of him for being a little rich boy from Metro City. She says people from Metro City think the surface dwellers are garbage, and Toby says the people of Metro City suggested he find a new home.
So now he's garbage too.
Yeah.
Literally.
The kids all introduce themselves to their new friend, but before you can tell him his name, some robots kidnap or robo-nap him. The robots recognize him as their own and say that they are the Robot Revolutionary Front, or RRF, and have liberated him from the humans. And they says, "You are being liberated. Please do not resist." Oh, wait, that's a different robot character that Alan Tudyk plays.
Yeah.
The mailbox, refrigerator, and regular robot are all just sort of slapsticky as they explain the rules of robotics, saying that the first law, a robot shall not harm a human, has kind of gotten in the way of them freeing robots, so they want to know if he's programmed with the same laws. Kind of opens up a whole can of worms if Toby is able to kill humans, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which I don't think they ever resolve.
I don't think so, no. They never mention it again. Which, like, I thought that was going to come back as well, because, like, why would they ask him about it if they were never going to mention it again or it never came back? Like, if, like, Toby was going to try and hurt Stone after he got sucked into the Peacekeeper, like, that would have been a good time to mention it, but...
I guess he does do it, and he knows that Stone's in there, so maybe that's the implication that he can harm humans.
Yeah.
And he was created to be a weapon for some reason.
Yeah.
To defend himself.
So that he can defend himself, yeah.
Yeah. They ask him his name, and he says Kunta Kinte. Actually, no, he says Toby, and they decide to give him a proper robot name. So the mailbox comes up with Astro. The robots show Astro the plan to stop some guy named Hamegg that they want to make an example of since he enslaves their kind. Yeah, that's right. I said his name is Hamegg.
I thought it was like Hammond or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's Hamegg.
No,
Hamegg. Ham and egg. I imagine maybe these names were from the original
I think so.
Japanese translation to English, and they were they were way funnier than they actually are.
Like Tenma is definitely a Japanese name.
Yeah, but like
and then Elephant,
like it probably just sounds really funny to somebody, some Japanese speaker who learns English as a second language, to make names that are kind of like English words, but not. I looked it up to try to find the trailer for the Japanese one while you're talking, and I couldn't see a difference. But anyway, it looks like his name is Atom Boy in the Japanese, which I guess for some reason the Japanese are obsessed with atomic power. I don't know why.
Can't imagine why.
I wonder why they changed it to Astro in English, but whatever.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyways, we'll move on. We'll move on from that one.
The robots say they plan to tickle Hamegg with a feather, and that will get the humans to free all robots. So these guys serve basically no purpose in the movie other than to be some slapstick comic relief to break up all the super dark stuff you're probably not supposed to think too deeply about. But at the same time, they have posters of Lenin on their wall and other communist paraphernalia and stuff. So it's like, okay, they idolize human communists, but they're robots. But there's also like a poster of Trotsky too, who I think was in direct opposition to Lenin at the time. So it's kind of weird that they idolize both of them. But whatever, they're robots.
It seems like something the animators would put in just for a joke.
I just know he was involved in the communist revolution with Lenin, and they were partners. And at some point, and then had a change of heart, and then died.
He fell off a building.
Mysterious circumstances. Actually, I don't think they were mysterious. Whatever. Cora breaks into their shack when she says that she just wants to free the kid, the robots are confused, but Astro assures the RRF that he's an undercover robot from Metro City. Speaking of Metro City, President Stone drops by to ask Tenma what he was thinking, putting the blue core in a robot version of his kid rather than into a killing machine like Stone wanted. Tenma agrees to deactivate Toby when the president's army tracks him down and put the blue core into the Peacemaker, much to Elefun's disgust. On the surface, the kids lead Toby to my worst nightmare. A building filled to the brim with children.
Maybe you should say.
No, it's mine. It's also my worst nightmare. I live it. It's some fat middle-aged guy with a mustache. In a room full of power tools. Oh, it's not me. Okay, it's talking about Nathan Lane. I mean, Hammock. Anyway, there's no reason to be alarmed at this scenario that's going on.
The one adult.
Yeah. This guy just so happens to be the evil dude the robots were planning to tickle to death with a feather. Hammock, who introduces himself as a scientist who used to work for Tenma on Metro City, but was banished to the surface for loving robots a little too much. Apparently kids, too. It's fucking both. This is what we're saying here. It was nice to see Nathan Lane do voice acting again. I think he's very good at it, and I think he's only really done like Pumbaa or Timon, and I don't know what else.
Yeah, I don't really understand why he doesn't do more. I think he's a real he seems like he's really puritanical when it comes to like stage acting, and I think that there's a part of voice acting that he doesn't like because there's no interaction between an audience or between other actors and stuff. So I'm guessing that's why. He's not much of a movie fan either. That's why you don't see him in tons of movies, because he loves the stage. That's his calling. The kids and the only adults sit down for a stale takeout pizza where Hamegg asks if Astro's parents know where he is. Failed opportunity to have them all eat ham and eggs, but I guess that's what happens behind closed doors. Toby nearly comes clean about being a robot, but stops himself since he's worried that they'll reject him too. The kids say their little hideout is a parent-free zone and that they're all orphans who spend their days tracking down robot parts for Hamegg. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, the setup is very odd. Toby goes to bed after being tucked in by his new father figure, content that he may have found a new home among the trash people, but the robo-dog growls at him since presumably it's the only one who knows the truth. Except there's tons of robots available, so it would come out at some point.
Yeah. Also, I don't know when the robot dog seems to have a change of heart about Toby, but he's trying nonstop to get everybody's attention to show them that he's a robot, but then suddenly he's like, oh, he's cool.
Yeah, it's just one of those plot threads that just sort of evaporates.
Yeah.
Like a kid in front of a death machine monster.
Except for his hat.
The next morning, the kids venture out to a lush green landscape that is not at all desolate hellscape that we've seen under the surface up to this point. I'm guessing the implication is that the floating Metro City hasn't been over there in a while to dump tons of robot garbage all over it for some reason.
Yeah. I think the implication is that the Earth is healing, but they are so busy with their own thing that they don't care anymore. They don't even look to the surface anymore.
Or it's just that nature will always heal itself if you give it the opportunity to. Mm-hmm. The dog bot keeps pestering Astro to come clean, but he says he wants the others to get to know him first so they don't discard him like trash like his own father did.
Yeah. This is one point where, like, he can understand the dog, but we can't. So why didn't we set that up like...
Yeah. I don't know.
And it's not a dog either. It's like
it's trash can.
Trash can. That acts like a dog.
Yeah.
There always has to be something that gets morphed into a dog in cartoons. I don't understand why. There's a horse, it's a dog. There's, I don't know, a baby, it turns into a dog.
Yeah. Cora explains that they go out every day to find parts for Ham-Egg to assemble robots for Ham-Egg's robot games, which sounds super fun and not at all like something out of Beyond the Thunderdome. The dog writes, he's a robot onto the ground with an arrow pointing to Toby, but the only kid who can see it can't read. I'm pretty sure that kid's name is Vince, if I remember right. Toby finds an iron giant nearby as a reminder that Brad Bird almost directed this. The kids tell Toby not to bother with the giant construction robot since it's over 100 years old and weighs a ton, but Toby uses his blue energy core to resurrect Zog, and the giant robot immediately comes back to life. We cut to Ham-Egg training a robot how to fight, but that's interrupted by Zog stepping on the robot and crushing it to a paperweight.
There's a real, like, weird morality with the robots throughout.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes they're like, we need to treat them like people, and sometimes it's like, oh, it's funny, he got smashed, and he's gonna be living as a pancake for the rest of time.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a little muddled. When it's for comedic effect, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's just
I thought that
smash
too.
The
like,
robots up, but
you know, there's like this weird. The movie never really wants to stick to a core of an emotional like message. It seems like it just sort of bounces around stuff, scene to scene, whatever.
Yeah.
Suits what's going on. Ham-Egg is shocked to see the giant robot and can't understand how Astro got it running again. Toby says he just kicked it and it came online, but when Ham-Egg uses a device to read how much energy the robot has, he also discovers the blue core energy inside Astro Boy. Ham-Egg pretends not to notice, but he gives the kid a sinister, I'm going to rape you like the others. I mean, I'm going to put you in my robot games smirk. Suddenly, all right, my Supergrass, you know, that one-hit wonder from the 90s that's in every other movie and commercial, starts playing, and the kids get to work cleaning and painting Zog so he can go fight the Incredible Hulk or something.
I feel like that song is used a lot, especially like early 2000s.
It's catchy. Cora falls from atop the robot, and Astro uses his rockets to catch her, but no one sees it, and he can explain it away by saying he's faster than he looks when Cora asks how the hell he caught her 10 feet up in the air. But she gives him a little smirk.
How'd you do that?
Yeah. I mean, she gives him a little smirk, and it's clear that she's catching feelings for this Robo Boy in his sexy red boots, but like she doesn't seem to get that he's a robot. He can just jump up and catch her. That was weird.
I don't know. I felt like they were trying to like make it to where he only jumped up a little bit, and she was like too distracted by the fall to realize that he caught her halfway up in the air.
They reveal Zog's new look to Ham-Egg, and they all take a cheesy family photo together for some reason. Astro says goodnight to Zog, and Trash Can Dog tries to get Toby to play fetch with him again, which worked out great last time.
This time, though, like the Robo Dog is like his friend.
Yeah,
so I guess just one day of hanging out. He was like, this guy's all right. This robot's all right.
Yeah. Astro throws the bone wrench about a mile, and he looks up at his former home in the sky. He hears Cora trying to reach someone on a phone of some sort, and then Astro surprises her. She tells him not to sneak up on people. She says that on clear nights, sometimes you can still call Metro City, and Astro is shocked since Cora hates that place, but clearly she secretly yearns to be chosen for the Hunger Games. She says she can't get the phone to work, but Astro uses his blue magic beam to fix it instantly somehow. Cora
works for everything, like literally,
everything
you could just beam the blue stuff all over the entire planet. Everything will be fixed. All the trash will be gone. All the streams will be clean.
Yeah. Or all the robots would wake up and rise up against the humans. It would be Terminator.
Zombie robots. Yeah. That'd be awesome. That would have been an awesome third act. Like the robots all rise up and kill everybody.
Yeah. Well, Cora tries desperately again to get through to someone, and it's revealed that her parents are still on Metro City, and that she's been hiding that she's one of the rich kids.
Also opens up a can of worms of like, how did she get to the surface?
Yeah, or why? Like what? I don't know. We'll talk about it. That's one of my Coppola questions, I guess. Astro says that he won't tell anyone her secret and tells her that he finally feels like he has a home with Hamegg and the Junkyard Kids. He almost tells her he's a robot, but chickens out before saying he guesses Hamegg is sort of like their dad now.
Act 3, The Resolution.
The next day, Hamegg and the kids march down the road in a parade of some sort with Zog towards a giant arena, and Astro finally realizes the robot games are a battle to the death. I'm like, what did he think the robots were going to do at these games? Like, pole vault? Which now, being in the future, I would have enjoyed that because I would sure hope that one of those robots was as hung as that freaking French guy, and we could have seen his cock hit the bar. Anyways,
I mean, it would be a shame if the robots aren't hung. I mean, that's just a waste.
Exactly. Anyways, back to this is kids film. Anyways, Astro confronts Hamegg since he thought he liked robots, to which Hamegg says they're just junk waiting to happen. Hamegg says that they must seem like they have real emotions, but it's just their programming, which is why he has no problem zapping Toby with some sort of tuning fork, electrical device thing that makes Toby fall to the ground and, well, probably shit his little robot briefs. The kids are all shocked to find out Astro is a robot and feel duped by his kindness, so they're all cool with ham and eggs putting Astro into the Thunderdome. Toby wakes up to Hamegg introducing him to the crowd as Astro Boy, and that the kid thinks they're all trailer trash.
I think that's the first time they use Astro Boy in the movie. I think he's Astro or Toby before that.
I think they had to give him a flashy name like
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say like
when he's fighting
the human spider. Spider-Man.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell named Spider-Man. I didn't know that until I saw that movie.
That's canon now.
It is canon now. God damn it. Suddenly the dildozer busts through a wall. No, wait. Some goofy-looking robot with saw blades for hands comes out to fight Astro, but he refuses to fight and tries to leave, but hits a force field above the arena. When he realizes he has no choice but to fight, he lifts the saw blade robot to the force field and shocks it till its head falls off. He didn't need to kill the fucking robot.
Robots are people too, unless they're not.
Yeah, that morality of it doesn't really matter to kill a robot unless it does.
Right.
I'm not really sure what the movie was trying to tell us at all about this stuff. Anyways, if it was trying to tell us anything. Next, Hamegg sends out an annoying baby robot thing that turns into two robots with guns, and Astro kills them in seconds flat as well. Hamegg gets pissed and sends all of the remaining fighter robots, which Astro again beats with little to no trouble. So Hamegg sends in Zog. Again, Astro refuses to fight, but rather than crush the kid, Zog just rubs Astro's head since they're buddies, and when Hamegg zaps Astro, Zog comes to his rescue. Zog goes to stomp Hamegg, and he says, "You can't hurt a human. It's against the laws of robots, and has been that way for 50 years. To which Zog says, "I'm old school, motherfucker," because, he's played by Samuel L. Jackson, and crushes Hamegg into jelly. No, wait. Astro Boy saves Hamegg, and he asks, "What kind of robot are you?"
I'm old school. I do feel like it could have been Vin Diesel. You could have easily switched them out.
Or Larry Iron Giant, so I could play Zog.
Wait, this was like 2008, so who would have been higher priced? Probably Sam Jackson. So his 15 lines or whatever, or 15 words versus Vin Diesel's. There you go.
Because, this was before the Fast and the Furious movies became popular again. So Vin Diesel was making the pacifier. So he's probably pretty affordable.
Back before they went back to the well and just redid every franchise that he's ever been popular in.
Yeah, Riddick, Triple X. Ugh. Anyways. Ugh. All this blue core power usage alerts President Stone and his men, so they land in the middle arena, which apparently doesn't have the force field around it anymore. I guess. Toby surrenders himself and apologizes to Cora and the gang for deceiving them and resigns himself to being deactivated since no one wants him anyways. Stone is shocked since now he can steal Toby's...
Stoked.
Huh? Oh, stoked. Stone is stoked. Yeah, see, people. I was trying to do you a service by losing my audio. Stone is stoked since now he can steal Toby's blue core and put it in Peacekeeper so he can start a war with the surface, which will surely get him reelected. This kind of reflects modern times. Back at the Ministry of Science, Tenma and Elephant, right? Elephant? Yeah. Are waiting for Toby so they can deactivate him. Astro says hello to Dr. Elephant, and they chat about finding a place in the world, but Toby doesn't think he has one, so he's cool with being killed. Elephant tries to reason with Dr. Tenma, who says the president is right, and it's just a machine. It being his son, by the way. When they're alone, Tenma takes out the blue core and apologizes to Astro for taking his life. And Toby says, I'm sorry I couldn't have been a better Toby for you, Dad, before shutting down. Racked with guilt, Tenma hands over the core, and President Stone says, after I'm reelected, you can have the funding to make as many little toys as you want. Tenma grabs his arm and says, no. Sorry, he says, no. If you want the core, you're going to have to kill me. Then Tenma lowers a blast door and puts the core back into Toby. It's kind of a pretty abrupt change of heart.
Called him Dad. What was he supposed to do?
That's all you gotta do, dude. Astro comes back online and Tenma says, you may not be Toby, but you're still my son. And they embrace as Stone and his robot guards open the blast door. Toby flies out of the lab through the ceiling, which causes Stone to arrest the scientist and order Elephant and Tenma shot for treason. Stone again finds the red core.
He's been exactly the same as Toby. He just didn't know his son at all. That's the only thing I can get out of it, because it's like he is literally exactly the same as the kid that we saw in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, right.
Except he's got robot powers. That's it.
It was this weird... I don't know. And having never read the comics, I'm not sure if they had a better relationship with the comics, but yeah, I kind of figured like it obviously tells you that he didn't know his son at all. And then when he earlier in the film, when he gets rid of him or wants to get rid of him and Toby takes off, it's like, what was the whole point of bringing your kid back? You knew he was going to be half human, half robot, right? So are you disgusted that he's a robot and you don't see robots as living things? Or is it just you really didn't know your son, so you don't even know that this is just a carbon copy of your fucking kid?
Yeah. That's what I got from it, is he didn't know his son at all.
Yeah. Which is weird because like Toby's like obsessed with him, and they kind of painted it as if they had a great relationship, but then
I don't think they did. I feel like they painted it as they didn't like. They were just awkward and
like
quiet
his
around
dad
each other.
Sent the robot to pick him up from school every day. You know.
Yeah,
but that's what robots do. It's no different than a butler because his dad's famous.
Well, then it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Workaholic dad would send the butler to pick the kid up from school, and he'd have a better relationship with the butler, which is true.
Yeah, which is
in
true.
This
Yeah,
movie.
But he called him dad, so it's okay. Anyways, Stone again finds the red core, which is just sitting out in the open, despite being basically the most dangerous thing on Earth. And again, he puts it in the Peacemaker, because that worked so great the first time. The robot comes to life, and Stone orders it to kill Astro Boy and to return the blue core. But the robot refuses and absorbs Stone into itself. So now it's just like has his personality for some reason, and he's the one controlling it.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't it have the ability to absorb stuff? And
yeah, I thought it was only. Yeah, but I thought it was only supposed to be able to absorb robots or technology, not people.
I don't really understand. I feel like I've mentioned it before, but like I do because we did it. We did this episode. It just seems like a huge design flaw to be able to take over a robot, a killer robot, through your personality. Like it's supposed to be this machine that you're controlling, but then if it absorbs something with a personality, suddenly it has that personality and that person is controlling it. That doesn't seem like a good thing for a murder robot.
Anyways, President Stonebot starts absorbing everything in the lab to make itself bigger and starts wreaking havoc in Metro City. Astro Boy hears explosions, so he decides to help the people who threw him away like garbage. When he arrives in the city, he sees that Stonebot has absorbed that Spirit of Freedom ship, or blimp from Fallout, and half of Metro City as well, and now stands hundreds of feet tall with the ability to destroy buildings with a single punch. When he sees Astro, Stone fires at him, and Astro discovers his arms can turn into cannons. Convenient. We cut to the surface where Hamig is blowing... where Hamig is blowing Dodge. I thought that was going a different direction. Since everyone hates him. Or his parole officer found out that he never registered as a sex offender. See? When he moved to the surface, but the kids decide to steal his car with the help of Zog so they can go help Astro. Stonebot absorbs some more buildings and grows even larger as Toby tries to hold his own against him. Astro Boy causes Stonebot to accidentally drop a building on himself, and the people in Metro City start cheering him on. Stonebot catches Astro and guns come out of his butt, which shoots Stone's eyes out. What is it with like kids movies and butts? Like there's always some butt joke.
Butts are funny, man.
Yeah.
Butts and farts.
They are.
Ripe with comedy and ripe with other things.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if Dan Schneider had anything to do with this. Suddenly, he's like one of the fembots from Austin Powers, or I guess more like a twink bot. Yeah. I'd be into that movie.
Suddenly, Hamig wants him back.
Hamig's like, maybe I was a little too harsh.
Or not harsh enough.
Or not harsh enough. Stone hits Astro with the building, sending him flying, and while laying knocked out on the ground, Astro almost gets stomped on, but the junkyard kids save him in Hamig's car. They barely escape Stonebot, who knocks out the power to Metro City, which causes the floating island in the sky to descend back down to Earth. Seems like a pretty big flaw that you would just be able to take the power out like that. You think you'd want it in a more secure area, but whatever. Astro Boy flies out of the car and lifts up the city like Superman or Iron Man, while gently guiding it down to Earth. Astro slams an I-beam over Stonebot's head, then punches him in the chin a bunch before the Peacekeeper pulls Astro into its red core, where Astro's essence seems to be absorbed for a second before causing a positive-negative reaction, which sends Stonebot and Astro flying. Tenma finds Toby in a half-destroyed building, and he explains that if the red and blue core come together, both of them die. Weren't they fused like as a star or whatever? So I don't understand. I don't know. Also, how the fuck did he find him so fast? Like, where were you, Tenma, that you were able to see where Astro went so easily?
He's flying around in his flying car, you know, with Eugene Levy.
Yeah. Boys!
He's over there.
Stonebot grabs Cora and the gang in the car, and Astro realizes there's only one way to stop the rampage. Astro tells his dad that this is what he was created for. I mean, not really, but okay. When Tenma tries to stop him, Astro Boy says, "I'm sorry, but this is who I am. Onward and upward, Dad." It's a nice way to use his catchphrase.
You have to be the Iron Giant, Dad. Because that movie made money. I mean, that's what I was born for.
That's what I was born for.
That movie was good. Let's copy that movie.
I love how they take the catchphrase from the manga and just kind of like shoehorn it into a scene that makes absolutely no sense. Like they just force it.
This is how like every freaking movie is now, where they just
I said it.
Yeah.
They wait until the very, very end to throw in the thing that made the character popular in the first place. Or like don't reveal their costume until 95 minutes into the 98-minute long movie. I don't understand that philosophy, because they're always like, well, of course we're going to get a sequel, but then they'd never get a sequel. And it's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That is a great
Just a great make point. The character what we wanted it to be from the beginning of the movie.
Right. Astro Jets oh my god. Astro Jets directly got
I feel like there's like a half page left to this thing.
There it is.
No, seriously.
Bear with me, children. It was a long week in Nashville. Astro jets directly into
Fucking A, dude.
It's not a tongue twister. I'll say it 3 times fast. Astro jets directly into chest.
Directly into Stone's chest, into the red core, and we get a fun little recap of all Toby's fun moments from the film so far, minus that one night eating ham and eggs. The Peacekeeper explodes, and presumably so does Toby in a red and blue energy blast. Tenma is devastated, having lost his son all over again, and we see President Stone crawl out of a hole in the ground, and he's immediately arrested. In a lush green field, Cora and the gang find Astro Boy back in his skivvies and seemingly dead.
I just don't understand how they lived. Like, if it blew up both of the cores.
Yeah, wasn't it supposed to be like antimatter meeting matter and
yeah,
creating a giant explosion that wipes everything out?
Right.
He just wakes up in a hole and one is in a grass field and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Except the cores are gone.
The cores are gone.
That's it.
That's all that matters.
Or the cores are still there. They're just dead.
The Surface people and Metro City people come together in mourning for their robot savior, and Dr. Elephant says he can't save the boy since his blue core was unique only to him. Zog shows up, and when Elephant finds out how Astro brought him back to life, he suggests Zog share some of the blue energy Astro used to reanimate him. Zog zaps Astro's core, which brings him back to life, and Toby wakes up to see his dad, who immediately hugs him. Toby thanks Zog for bringing him back, and then all the kids hug him, and they all laugh and laugh. Elephant says Astro has finally found a place in the world since he's a hero robot with a heart of a lion. The kids hoist Astro on their shoulders, and Cora finds her parents in the crowd. Tenma tells Orin he doesn't want him to call him sir anymore, and to take the day off and go enjoy yourself with the robot ladies and so forth. And everything is right and perfect with the polluted nightmare world they all have to live on together now. The end. No, wait. Suddenly a flying spaghetti monster appears in the sky, starts blasting everyone, but Astro Boy runs towards the danger. Tenma stops him and says, "Are you sure you're ready for this, Astro?" And Astro Boy says, "I was made ready," and flies off to defeat it in a sequel we'll never see thanks to the catastrophic box office results. The end.
Go enjoy yourself with the robot ladies and so forth.